We're going to check in now on the Democratic campaign. Joining me is the head of the Democratic National Committee, Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Congresswoman, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Bret.
The president is on the road. He's speaking to college students around the country, talking about student loans. Recently, USA Today and Gallup did a survey about enthusiasm among young people. And in the presidential election, 18 to 29-year-olds, in comparison to February 2008, you see the difference there, 76% to 48%. Is there a vulnerability for the president in firing up young people in this economy?
Well, I think the president has a tremendous record to run on for young people. The investments that we've made in historically black colleges and universities, $1 billion, making sure that we've doubled the amount of Pell Grants are available and increased the minimum amount available for the individual Pell Grant, making college more affordable and more accessible to more people. That's extremely appealing to young people, and making it an absolute priority to ensure that we don't allow the doubling of the student loan interest rate by July, which the Republicans under the Ryan budget, not only do they allow that, but they also get rid of the tax credit for student loans. And in addition to that, they opposed unanimously making sure that we prevented that from happening when an amendment was sponsored in the Budget Committee and on the House floor.
Now, you bring up the budget, and the president brings up the budget, the Paul Ryan budget.
That's right.
But as you know, and we've been around this block before, the Senate Democrats who control the Senate haven't had a budget past one in now 1,091 days. Here's what you said to Greta Van Susteren when we talked about this the last time, and you were on her show.
I expect that the Senate will take up a budget. I haven't heard Harry Reid say anything close to that he's not going to put a budget on the Senate floor. The Senate will. I'm confident the Senate will take up a budget, and but let's focus on what's important here. Process is not what we should be obsessing over.
We can't.
So the Senate is not taking up a budget. He has said he will not take up a budget. A budget will not move to the floor this year. And he said back in February, it's done, we don't need to do it, and it's clear now they're not doing it. So what about that?
Well, I mean, I'll say what I said that night, because focusing on process is not what the American people are interested in. What they're interested in is making sure that the Romney-Ryan budget that ends Medicare as we know it, that would allow student loan interest rates to double.
But you get the people sitting at home that say, hey, listen, we understand that you have a problem with the Ryan budget, but there's not a Democratic budget on the table.
There certainly is. President Obama proposed a budget.
But it's not being voted on.
That's right, because the House Republicans voted it down.
The Senate controls by Democrats, and they are not bringing forward the president's budget. If they wanted to vote on the president's budget, all they'd need is 51 votes to pass it. So why don't you or President Obama call Senator Reid and say, bring up President Obama's budget and vote on it?
I don't speak for or tell Harry Reid what to do. What I think we'd have to do here is make sure that we've got two budgets, two different directions that we could go on November 6th and leading up to November 6th. The Romney-Ryan budget, which Mitt Romney has fully embraced, that takes us back to the failed policies of the past.
People are talking about it. Yep. So you can debate it because it's passed the House.
And we can also debate the president's budget.
But it hasn't passed the Senate.
Okay.
No, but see, this is how Congress works.
No, what I know is that we have two blueprints that show the different directions that this country could go.
One has passed the Chamber of Congress and one hasn't.
I know that it's really interesting to, instead of focusing on the details, which are really meaningful to people, to focus on process, because the details are painful for Republicans.
But if solutions are the end result, if you're trying to get solutions, you know you have to get it past Congress. So.
Again, I'll say to you what I said to Greta.
I know you don't think people care about process.
Harry Reid or a Senate Democrat on your show and ask them. I'm none of those things. I'm a House Democrat.
You told Greta that he was going to bring it forward.
I did think at that time that there was a likelihood that a budget would come to the Senate floor, but what you're trying to do now is and I understand it, because the Romney-Ryan budget is painful for Americans.
How do you solve the problems of the U.S.?
No, it makes sure that we don't do it by making sure that millionaires and billionaires get another $150,000 in tax breaks.
How do you fix things if you don't?
We fix it by working together. We fix it by both sides coming together,
which is called a conference committee,
and not walking away from a $4 trillion opportunity to reduce the deficit.
But you can't work together unless there are two plans that that come together in a conference committee, and you work out, you iron out the details. Some people get what they want, other people don't get what they want.
Right.
And if there aren't two plans that go to the conference committee, then you just kind of demagogue one plan that's on the table.
Well, the Republicans have had numerous opportunities to work with President Obama, and they have repeatedly demonstrated that they have no interest in doing that. President Obama has put forward proposal after proposal, has shown time and again that he's willing to sit down and compromise on deficit reduction, on the debt ceiling, on tax reform, on making sure that we can fight for the middle class and working families and create jobs. The Republicans have an interest in one job, his, and they don't want him to be successful, and that's why we haven't been able to work together.
I hope to have Senator Reid on to talk to him about the process.
Please ask him about it, and
I will.
I'll continue to
thank you very much for your time.
I speak for the Democrats. Thank you very much.